Good afternoon everyone. I want to thank you for taking the time to join me today. This is part of a regular exercise that we undertake with our customer base, contacts and friends within the industry. And what we're hoping to do today is to give a bit of insight from the perspective of a contact centre as to how we see the customer service market developing with the advent of omni-channel. So throughout the discussion, there are going to be a few key points that we'd like to get across today, and what we tend to do is to revisit those at the end of the presentation and the webinar and see whether the thoughts on those have perhaps slightly changed. The first of that is naturally services in the insurance market. We'll look at what we're providing, the services our customers are providing, and the services that their customer base is privy to. We'll then look at the effect of omni-channel into this environment. So we'll see the ever-changing world of IT, technology, and we can view how that has an effect on managing the customer journey. We can view that from a standpoint of a contact centre and our view of the ever-changing world for the policyholder. And finally, we'll provide a few examples and case studies for customers that have put this into action, and hopefully give one or two of you perhaps a few ideas. So to kick things off, what I thought would be best would be for us to very quickly look at the insurance landscape, provide one or two examples of the services that we provide and subsequently touch points with policyholders, with third parties. These services by and large are very reliant now on what's known as omni-channel communications, which is effectively a communication standpoint where a customer can engage with you for a mobile device or app or any type of public forum. This covers a wide spectrum of services, many of which reside in the claims arena, so standard FNOL to third-party intervention, through to repair management, claims management, and other types of customer engagement, right through to policy sales, so having a compliant sales cycle. And as you can see, the broad stroke of customers we work with range from third-party administrators through to service suppliers, and of course insurers and brokers in the market. And so when you consider those parties and all of the varying services we provide, one thing is evident: omni-channel is very much real. It's now, and it's here to stay. Customers are now able to engage with brands, with insurers, brokers, as consumers, as policyholders and third parties, real time, at any point of the day in which they choose to. There's a selection of mobile devices you can see, the point being that customers, and at the flick of a button, can lodge complaints, grievances, perhaps congratulate you, lodge queries for a number of different forums. And what you can see there in this prism is a design by Brian and Solis. It just shows many different forums and ways that customers can communicate with you as a brand. Ultimately, any type of discussion or forum that a customer holds or looks to engage with you in, you have to take a view as to whether you view positive or negative press as being an acceptable loss, as something that you're willing to absorb as a business. All of these forums, if managed properly, can be put into a suitable customer journey. This is really a chance for you to engage with your customers, to be proactive, to listen to what they've got to say, but to also manage them and to make sure they're getting the service they require. So what we're now going to do is to look at that customer journey and how you can manage all these different functions into four key areas and verticals for your business. And that's something we call multi-channel customer services. So standard telephony, it's by and large been the mainstay of the insurance world and the way that customers will communicate. We are moving away now from fax and pen and paper, but naturally telephony, email are well-established routes for customers and policyholders to engage with you as a business and as a brand. There's a set expectation, there's a set type of tone and linguistics required, and it's something that's very much established. But as a contact centre, more and more of our customers are looking to implement web chat and social media functions. I myself have always been very much reliant on email. However, in the last few years, now tend to use Facebook and WhatsApp as my prime messaging facilities, and I've actually engaged with my insurer through Facebook Messenger. The critical thing is that if you have a national brand, a global brand, whatever it may be, and you have a LinkedIn page, a Snapchat, whatever it may be, customers will engage with you through that forum. They will do what's easiest, and they will expect a steady and fast response. But within all of these functions, the point of this graphic is letting you know that you are able to channel this and to have a consistent tone, verbiage and voice. And that kind of comes away from just being compliant, from just being consistent. It's a customer journey, and so you need to ensure as a service supplier that you can engage with people on social media, and where appropriate, handle them through that forum. But perhaps where not appropriate, looking to deal with sales, looking to deal with complaints type issues, channel them into email comms, to telephony comms. This can all be managed under one facility, and it's something that we do with a number of our customer base. And so when our customer base review the potential need to change the landscape and to look at the way they deal with their customers and their policyholders, there are a number of key issues and thoughts that will arise that range from compliance through to advances in technology. And for each business, it's really a case of understanding your policyholder base, understanding the demographic, how they like to engage, and looking at insight, looking at the value of their interaction and the value you can add with that. Naturally, there are operational risks to a business. You must ensure that, as we said previously, your tone, the general way that you handle your customer is consistent. However, what we have found with a number of suppliers and customers in different arenas of the insurance market is that channeling your customers into a multi or omni-channel environment is a massive tool, and it's very much on the leading edge. For example, there are a number of ways in which you can prevent customer dissatisfaction by having appropriate forums for them to lodge complaints. Many customers will take a view whether this should be a 24/7 365 function or something that's based within office hours. That's really dependent on the demographic of your customer base and the expectations you've set. But there are huge areas for expansion within this, and masses of ways in which you as a business can look to really grow the relationship you have with your customers and look at that overall retention. But the final point for me, as you look at making that move, it's the value to you as a business ultimately. More and more of our customers are moving into the omni-channel environment. They're making themselves available to their customer base, and it's for their own protection. There is nothing unseen anymore. From a claims perspective, it enables you to have full visibility of potential large losses and really does enforce a strong mitigation approach. So as we look back on the main points for discussion, we've spoken through services in the market, and we've given some very brief examples as to how omni-channel is relevant to them in today's world. More and more insurance functions are moving this way and will continue to do so. And we've looked at that effect and what it means to you as a business. Ultimately, be you a national insurer, a local brokerage, a third-party administrator, a hire provider, whatever you may be, omni-channel is very much real, and your customers will expect you to engage with them in any public forum that you've chosen to enter. And it's really each business to their own. You'll have, as a brand, an ethos, a customer voice. What I would always recommend would be that you find the appropriate way to set SLAs of customers and to build their expectations. Efficiency is king in this world. And finally, putting it into action, we've given a very brief insight into how customers could potentially look to implement this and the items they need to consider before doing so. It goes without saying that if any of this has resonated whatsoever, we'd be more than happy to talk through examples in greater detail as to how people have rolled from what telephony and email through to full omni-channel customer services. So I hope you found this short webinar to be useful. We like to think that we can have real benefit with our customer base by just making them aware of what the market's doing, the customers are speaking with, what they expect. And we're always happy to trade war stories over a quick coffee and talk through one or two ideas you may have, or any hesitations you may have in looking at omni-channel as a wider service option. But any questions, feel free to give me a call or drop me an email and we'll go from there. Have a good one.